everybody, it's Osiris with 15 Minutes. Today we are on location in Los Angeles. So we will be talking to philanthropist, actor, writer, nonprofit founder, John Sill. So set your channels, go to YouTube and subscribe to my 15 Minutes show, and we'll be right back. Hey everybody, it's Osiris with 15 Minutes again, and we're back with John Sill. He is a philanthropist, actor, writer, and nonprofit president of the Notre Society of Notre Dame. He is also having a big S&D Film Festival this year, and we're going to talk to him a little bit about some of the things that he's done. Hey, John.
Hey.
What's up?
Amazing. That's
my
word.
goodness. Amazing.
Los Angeles is an amazing place. I've actually only lived here for the last year and a half, and we're doing so many great things to help to bring together the community of nonprofit, of poor and underprivileged in downtown Los Angeles, and the world.
So you kind of are on a mission. I noticed, I was reading your bio, great bio, by the way. I was reading your bio, and it says that your father was a commercial captain for the airlines, right? And that's kind of what started you on the quest to travel, and you ended up being in Africa and Europe and Asia. Can you, and also I love the part about you knew it in your heart that this is what you want to do, because when you were 7, you worked for CVS Pharmacy, yeah. And that you saw a young man with Down syndrome, and you thought, this is, wow, I need to do something. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think I felt like I was really privileged to be able to travel the world anytime I wanted, whether I was younger and up until now being younger, and yet, whenever I saw people that really couldn't help themselves, I felt like, you know, if I don't do something, then who is? And when I saw this young man with Down syndrome, I was just so moved. And it just struck me that really, although he couldn't really help himself, I felt like at least I could give him comfort, I could give him some sense of belonging. And that's what I feel that everyone needs, regardless of whatever their situation is, whether they're really poor, even if they're really rich. The point is that everybody needs love. They need compassion and they need charity. And I think that the goal of any good nonprofit is not just to provide that from the outside, but to be able to really provide a personalized sense of care.
And I like what you said in the bio, when you said you mentioned that nonprofit, some people usually connect with people by giving them funding, but they don't form the personal relationship where those people years later can come back and say, it's because of you that I went to college or I turned my life around. So I think that's really important. Now, I know that you have slept on dirt floors in countries with people. And I also know that some of your travels took you into situations where you ended up working alongside the Sisters of Mother Teresa. Yeah. Talk about, like, real Sisters of Mother Teresa?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, talk about that.
Well, it was really just a privileged experience because these sisters are just so full of life. And they just give and give and give. And I remember one time I was actually helping them to clean the floors using, of course, they don't use normal sponges. You have to use claws because they try to live very primitively, and it's a very beautiful thing. So, you know, I'm using these claws, and the one sister's saying, John, you got to get more into the grind there.
Get the toothbrush.
Exactly. And, you know, and I was just thinking about it, and I was like, you know, even everything we do, if we do it with a little bit of care, whether it's just cleaning the floors because people are going to walk in there, and we do it with every detail, we do it with love, we do it with attention, it makes a difference. Because it's like creating just an environment, almost like a spiritual environment too, which is what I really learned from them. Yeah. This sense that we need some kind of sense of spirituality around what we do. You know, the details of preparing for things, the details of caring for somebody, it really makes a big difference, especially when you're giving to someone so that they have that personalized experience. And for me, it was just the love that they gave, even just towards me.
Even your smile. I can tell they gave you love by that big smile you have. And you tell me you're not young. I'm like, are you kidding? You're way young. Trust me, you look you're a very good-looking guy. So talk to us, how did you go from acting I know that you played a king on the Agents of Babylon, and then you wrote a script called Genesis. Are you shopping this script?
Yes, I am.
You're shopping the script because that's what it said. And so you have been talking to major production companies. Like, can we talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So I just released a teaser that was done by some blockbuster credited Sony compositors and Marvel and Disney. And of course, they're working for me, not for Sony or Marvel or Disney, to create this teaser, which is basically intended to be the first non-animated Sonic the Hedgehog.
Can we look at the teaser?
You sure can.
Where is it on YouTube?
It's you're going to find it on the Genesis. That's the channel, and you'll see it.
And you're on there.
Yes.
You're in the teaser?
Yes.
What are you doing?
I am the Sonic in it.
What do you mean by the Sonic? This is funny. No, wait, what?
So I had FX artists come in from Universal, and they basically put...
And it's non-animated,
It's
though.
not animated. So we did it out live, and we did it in front of a green screen, of course. And so there was all FX art on me. And the concept is that basically, in the script is about, first of all, there's no origin story to Sonic the Hedgehog. And so for me, it all ties into everything because the whole storyline is centered around this character, which is like Sonic the Hedgehog. He's kind of an irresponsible person.
Nothing like John.
Nothing like me. Maybe deep down, that's really who I am, but I try to come across differently. You know, immature, and yet, you know, he's struggling to like make a decision in his life. You know, what direction is he going to go down? And he has this kind of mystic encounter with a hedgehog. So they're two separate people. So it's not like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So it's a very unique origin storyline. That's enough to give for now.
I'm going on there. So all of you out there, you heard it. It's on the channel called Genesis. The Genesis. And it is called... It's on the channel called Genesis. It's called the Genesis, and it's on the Genesis. Okay, so it's the Genesis. Just look for John Sill, S-I-L-L, or Sillup, S-I-L-L-U-P, his acting name, and you'll see it. So now, you are still acting and doing some acting work, or you're doing more script writing, screenwriting?
Right now, I've just been delving into different script writing, some TV scripts, some reality TV.
Yeah.
And I do like to try to do acting when I can. It's just finding the time for it and the priority for it. I had a few auditions for some major features in Italy and in New Zealand, but sounds horrible. I did not have the time to actually go to the audition.
Why is that horrible? You're the executive director of our next thing we want to talk about, which is the big SND Film Festival. It's going to be happening right here in LA at Nokia Live.
Yes, now they're calling it the Novo at LA Live.
Wait a minute.
Yes, they're calling...
They changed the name?
They changed the name. But it's really exciting because it's right next to Microsoft Theater. It's where all the Grammys, the Emmys, the Oscar,
All the big events.
all the big events happen. So we're the end of October, and we are right now the largest humanitarian entertainment event.
Now, you're comparing this is being compared to the Oscars of the humanitarian side of life. For those of you that are big, I'm a humanitarian. I love humans sometimes, but, you know, we try to love them all the time. But it is going to be held October 21st as a black tie formal event. And then the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, we will be experiencing something beyond our imagination. I know there are going to be lots of entertainers. Tell us a little bit about it's being done on behalf of the Syrian refugees, right?
Yes.
The children of them.
Yes. Child refugees.
Child refugees in general?
In general. Syrian, Armenian, we have Ukrainian child refugees. We also have Palestinian refugees that we'll be working with. And so this whole event, I just made a trip to the country of Moldova, where I met with the United Nations groups there, as well as the U.S. Embassy. Very positive talks of collaboration with them to work directly with the child refugees in that country that have come in from other countries. Also been speaking with some other organizations, with one of our special guests, Rupa Dash, who's the founder of the World Women's Foundation. We're doing some work with women in Ukraine in addition to this. So we are actually the only nonprofit 501c3 in Moldova, the country of Moldova.
That is recognized by the IRS.
Yes.
For doing these sorts of big events and tapping to this whole thing. Now, there had to be a need for something like this. So what led you into doing, I mean, that's quite a big heart.
Yes.
Do you have a clone? Can we find any more of you? Or, we need some men with big hearts, okay?
Thank you.
What led you into extending your own personal self into such a big responsibility?
You know, it's all the time I spent abroad and all these other countries. And whenever I came back to the U.S., I always felt like, oh, I'm so happy.
I'm home.
I'm so happy to be an American. And I'm so happy to be here in the United States where we have so many privileges that we don't even realize.
We take for granted.
Take for granted. And so when I saw all of the problems with refugees and friends that came from some of these countries, not as refugees, but they lived on the outskirts, so they didn't experience the same issue, but it did touch them. And that moved me, and obviously seeing that the United Nations recognizes that this is an epidemic problem, that there's 80 million refugees.
In the United States alone or in the world? And how many of those people are in the United States that we actually have to deal with?
Barely a million. Barely a million.
So it's mostly in other countries, foreign countries that they... Why is that when we seem to have the most economy thing here?
I just think it's because we're afraid. And we cannot be afraid to diversity. We cannot be afraid for variety. And this is why we're doing this entertainment event, because we want to open the doors to Hollywood, to recognize that there's a real need. And the need is to bring in, not just to the United States, but also to bring into our hearts and bring into our lives these people that feel lost.
And can you imagine being uprooted from your home and you're 2 years old and your parents are dragging you to some other place? You're like, where am I? What am I doing? And I imagine that there's going to be a lot of stress issues from there. What I would like to address, which is what some Americans are concerned about. Sure. If we have so many problems here in our own country, we have children in major cities that are without. Why then are we extending ourselves into foreign territories when we are still dealing with major stuff in our own country?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's because even though we still have a lot of major issues, the United States has always grown by reaching outward.
Oh, that's true.
It's always when we step outside of ourselves, even in life, that we experience some benefit to ourselves. And when it comes to financially in the United States, when we reach out to other countries, those other countries and those people will step back and look at us as a nation to aspire to. And that's what brings some of the most brilliant, most intelligent, most talented and successful immigrants to our country, because they recognize us to be a country that gives. And they want to come to our country to be givers. They want to give all of those resources and talents, and they want to live here and build up our country. And that's what we're doing. We want to be able to provide that service to refugees to make them leaders and to make a positive impact in our country and in those other countries where they're already existing, to help them where they've relocated, to build up that country, like Moldova, like Ukraine, to re-establish their own economies there. And the only way to do it is to show them that hope and that sense of entrepreneurship that we have here in the United States, that sense that, nothing is impossible.
We're going to make the impossible possible. How can citizens and residents of the United States have more of an open heart when we have so many issues here with, we're still trying to deal with the whole black and white issue. And then we're going to bring in all these other diverse cultures. Now, I personally love diversity, but I've traveled outside of the United States. And so when you do start traveling, it does open your mind and your heart very much more expansive than just sticking in your own, I'm this color or this culture, but you extend out.
Absolutely.
How is S&D bridging some of those emotional frictions, that rubbing other people from other places, that tension that can go with that? How is S&D handling that?
This entertainment event is a variety film festival, which is what we're calling the film festival component now, Variety Film Festival, because we want this big entertainment event to be able to embrace people like the United Nations, of all ethnicities, of backgrounds, of beliefs, of opinions and choices, and of gender and race.
Because that's what the world really is.
It really is. And we want it to be the humanitarian Oscar event in Los Angeles.
I love that. We've never had one, I don't think.
No, we haven't. And because we're not an entertainment event, we're not in it for the money. So we're in it to help other people. 100% of our profits are going to child refugees, as well as the other programs just to help the local underprivileged here in Los Angeles, working with LGBT Center in Skid Row to provide screenings and film for them during the days of the event.
How, geez, this is much more than I imagined with the depth of involvement that SND is stepping up to now. Are they worried about any kind of level of security, or are they worried about any of those kind of things with such a big humanitarian, quote unquote, humanitarian event going on where all of these mixed, and variety, diverse things?
Sure, absolutely. I think this is an issue that we always have to look at. But I think the fact that we are really addressing, refugees, I feel like the idea of a threat is very minimal. But at any event now, we have to be aware. We have to be aware in the United States of what's going on around us. But at the same time...
And children are not exempt anymore.
No, not at all. And I think to create an event where, in a sense, like we're all holding hands, not saying kumbaya.
Kumbaya, kumbaya.
Maybe now we can sing kumbaya. But at least where we have a variety of music entertainment coming in.
What can we expect? I can't wait. What about the music, and what are some of the things we'll be able to see?
Well, we have a variety
Please tell.
of country artists. We have a variety of...
Are they people are they well-known celebrity type?
You are going...
Oh, shocking.
We have a wonderful collaboration with the Hollywood Music and Media Awards. And so they are bringing in some of their major artists that show up to their event just a month later. So we're very excited. You're going to have to just stay tuned to it because it's just going to be very exciting.
We're getting towards the end of our 15 minutes, you guys. I could just talk to you forever. Don't you love him? Look at the kind of heart. So for you women out there, there are men in this world that have hearts. Not all men are cold. Where can we reach you? How can we find out more about the big SNDLA Fest?
Yeah, so SNDLA.com.
SNDLA.com.
And
Twitter's, Facebook's,
SND Festival. And Facebook, you'll find us there. You'll find us on LinkedIn. I'm just so excited.
And the Genesis channel. You'll see John on there doing his thing. I can't wait to go in there and find out what it's all about. You guys, don't forget it's non-animated, so it should be quite entertaining.
Absolutely, And I think that's what we want. We want this to be a fun event because that's really where hope comes from, right? It comes from having fun. It comes from being free. And that's what we have.
And feeling secure, like people really care about you, and you're just not just a name, a face, and a number.
Absolutely. And to have people of all different backgrounds coming. So it's not just a simple, event with just one genre or just, we are opening the doors. We're opening the doors for the world to come in. We want this to be like the United Nations Festival event. And that's our goal. And I believe we will be there. So come.
Enjoy. And we're going to see you there. This has been another 15 minutes. Don't forget, check out John Sill and the big SND Film Festival. That's SDNLA.com. And you can also find them all online. Just look. And set your channels to 15 minutes. Don't forget to subscribe to 15 Minutes, our channel on YouTube. And we'll see you next time. And that's a wrap. Bye.
See you soon.